Thank you, Badan Chairman, and thanks to Dr. King's introduction. I'm very glad to be attend the Oncothermia study group in Korea. It's the third time I attend, and every time I feel I learn a lot, and I hope Taiwan will have Oncothermia machine in the near future, and we definitely will join Korea Oncothermia study group. Today I chose this topic. I think this topic is quite interesting and our new, maybe say exciting, it's not discovery, but it's just our understanding. Of course, everybody knows hyperthermia, but I think the most important thing is the interplay with many new weapons. This most attracted, we just go into the new area. Because the new area, everybody say target therapy, everybody say immunotherapy. And I met most of my colleagues in medical oncology. They say I transformed from chemotherapist to target therapist. And now I am an immunologist. But I feel most of them are gold-fashioned. If they don't know what is hyperthermia, they can't be a real immunologist. Let's get a brief review what is we learned from the past of radiosensitization. It's temperature dependent. Of course, my temperature plus radiation, plus hyperthermia, as Dr. Song told us, is conventional. We feel this way, but if you can increase the temperature, it's really have more radiosensitization. If we want to higher response, we need a longer time, and we need to combine with the drugs. And higher dose per fraction means because in the in vitro study, hyperthermia increase the beta, alpha beta increase the beta most. If you temperature more than 33, then you increase alpha. So it's very difficult to increase up to 43 degrees. So most of the time, conventional hyperthermia, in my practice, we need to use hypo fractionation, such as we use 5 gray per fraction at the day of radiation. And in the chemotherapy field, there are so many exciting things happens. First is the mechanism. They homologous recombination inhibition by heat. It's a synthetic lethality with PRP. The new oritraprid is a new small target therapy. And non-homogeneous end joint repair is also inhibition by heat. It just published. And Taxol is interaction with the M phase transit is by heat. And we know we decrease interstitial fluid. And most importantly, I believe hyperthermia increased chemotherapy-induced immunogenic death. I think this is a must for everybody to do this because when we try to introduce the machine go into the new country, there's no randomized trial. Because nowadays, everybody knows CCRT is the standard. But now all the randomized phase 3 are RT plus hyperthermia. So we strongly need a randomized trial for this. And I believe it's definitely well positive because I talked to my colleagues all the time many years ago. The reason of CCRT in almost every clinical trial better than radiotherapy is not the chemotherapy effect, it's immunotherapy effect. Nobody believes me. But immunogenesis, we need DNA breakage by radiation, but we need DNA oxidation by such as cis protein. Then it's become a new antigen. If you just give radiation, you give chemotherapy, no immunogenic death. But you combine CCRT, it is. But what is important is that in the day of hyperthermia, if we want to further increase the immunology effect, we need hyperthermia plus CCRT. Another few things I found very interesting. It's just, it's only 18 days after the treatment, 3 grade times 10. So it will increase osteoblast activity. It's very interesting. It's by conventional hyperthermia. And we measure temperature. Actually, the skin temperature not skin, the soft tissue temperature is 42, but the bone marrow temperature is 44. So I believe the reason why bony metastasis is a good candidate for doing Oncothermia randomized phase 3 trial is because easier to recruit patient, and I bet it will work. So potential, we know hyperthermia have some bad things, such as induce more acidosis, hypoxia, misfolded protein, histoprotein, everything of these are escaping mechanism. And the worst is they might increase the metastasis rate. That's why we increased local control in the past 30 years, but not necessarily increase overall survival, because we did not use the best of hyperthermia. So my strategy is nowadays we are target therapy era. Target therapy era, we need to use the hormone recombination inhibitor. We need to combine PRP. We know it's increased ROS. We might need a side reduction inhibitor. We know it's influence the M phase, the passage. So we need to combine with the taxolate. And drug resistant, the only way is to increase the temperature. Like the slide shown by Summerstron's Japanese machine. If it's an ulcerated tumor, then I don't care the soft tissue. I can hit it up to 45, 48, 44, 43. Then you see dramatic response. So the temperature is the key. I combine with chemotherapy with high temperature. But deep inside our body, nobody can give 48. It's impossible. But so unusual case, then they have good response because their machine, they use a water bolus. If you use small water bolus, you don't touch. I noticed Dr. Song's slide. They cover with plastic bag in a few times, and only just like doing cerebral band for radiotherapy. Then we treat only the tumor area. Then you can push high temperature. You push high temperature, you have good result. But Oncothermia don't need to push high temperature. You have the similar result because of the narrow effect. So I think the histoprotein inhibitor someday will come to clinic. It will be a good weapon to combine with hyperthermia, proteasome inhibitor, and the lysosome inhibitor, such as Iresa, Tasiva. Is this work in conventional hyperthermia? Is this work in Oncothermia? I will have some data I will show later. And most importantly is when today we have checkpoint inhibitor, so the immunotherapy will become very, very effective by hyperthermia. So this very important paper just published. C-flic is a master anti-apoptosis protein by anti-FAS, TRAIL, TNF, all the external intrinsic apoptosis pathway. Because of the temperature, just 40 to 42, the protein will aggregate. So then it's become strongly increased immunotherapy response. We have some limited experience just by hyperthermia, conventional hyperthermia. This case, refractory to Tasiva, but we use a radiotherapy method of increased immunotherapy by 40 rad, 2 weeks per fraction. So we totally give him 10 times, just 400 rad, so no toxicity, but increase the immunity. It's a paper published on Cells. So at the same time, I give the same Tasiva. We see the response. Patient keeping on response to Tasiva. And this is the melanoma case. I give BCG intratumor injection, it's an immunotherapy, plus conventional hyperthermia. We see the response. So hyperthermia should be combined, interplay with immunotherapy. But the problem is, most physicians, they see from a tube. So if they are immunotherapy, they say, now I'm immunotherapy. If the past day he's a cardiac therapist, he say, I'm a target therapist. He never sees the whole picture. Another problem, even worse, is our radiotherapy. In the past 30 years, we see only radiotherapy. We forget the chemotherapy sensitization effect. We even forget the so-called electromagnetic effect. Just like the picture, Dr. Sass always told us homeostasis. So homeostasis in the physiology, we have a signal with negative feedback back. But in the cancer oncogenesis, usually it's a positive feedback. It's a visual cycle. So in the visual cycle, one mutation will cause carcinogenesis. But in the treatment, if we treat the treatment, we use single blockage, usually it's become useless. If a treatment, we need to transform the treatment become positive feedback. If the treatment can induce some positive feedback, it will become a beautiful treatment. Just like if we use treat by target receptor, we will never work because so many new mouse coming up, you will never hit it. And you spend a lot of money, but it doesn't work. So this is the new method. I love the theory from Dr. Sass' lecture. And we got one research machine for animal experiment. We don't have clinical machine, but I confirm what Dr. Sass told us. It really can focus to the cancer site, just simply by Wagner effect. The Wagner effect, everybody knows. And I briefly, shortly say it's an acid condition to use glucose, try to adapt to hypoxia, try to proliferation invasion, try to angiogenesis, and try to escape apoptosis. All of this is a vicious cycle come from the acid environment. So cancer cell, the weak point is they have water effect. And the acid, what surprised me from the paper like this, the acid itself can produce, in the membrane produce ATP. They don't need mitochondria. They're just like cells. If you have acid gradient between outside the membrane and inside the membrane, you have ATP produced over the membrane. It surprised me. It's a beautiful paper. And we know when tumor become acid and acid, they will try to use mitochondria. Then the most difficult to treat cancer is also mitochondria dependent. They not only use glycolysis. That's why Oncothermia someday they were facing drug resistant, treatment resistant, because the cancer will change. Someday they don't use glycolysis. Then we have to have method to solve the problem. So the AC area, they will activate the membrane like crazy. So it's a method different what we have learned. We are not use inhibitor to receptor. On the contrary, we use hyperthermia to activate all the receptor. Everything was activated. So you activate everything, activate mitochondria, activate endocytosis, exocytosis. In the way, it's out of the patient's burden. Then they produce a lot of ROS and then apoptosis. That's our basic mechanism to Oncothermia treatment. We have some evidence, of course, learned from Dr. Sass' side. This is a thermal sensor. It's a TRPV3. This is a cancer channel. Under the Oncothermia, it will open quickly, the influx of the cation. And the influx of cation, it will induce G2M block. That means just by stimulating the receptor, the thermal center on the membrane, we can have a physiologic function. And we know we have, by physical method, by electrophysical method, or just by chemical method to destroy the cholesterol, we can activate EGFR. We apply some energy into the membrane, we activate the EGFR. And we open the cation channel, we activate a lot of receptor. So we use physical method, we can activate membrane. This is what the basic of Oncothermia. I like this slide very much because the chemotaxis, we increase lots of the ligand, but in the area of electrotoxicity, we give Oncothermia, then we increase a lot of receptor. So all the receptors become activated, so it cannot move now, but you see the original slide from Dr. Sass. Then everything was activated. Everything was activated, then it's lethal to the cell. Just like ERK receptor, it's a positive loop to induce beta minus and beta catetin. Beta catetin then is a vicious cycle to activate all the cancer cells. But why we culture cell when the cells just in the beginning EGFR binded and the catetin activated, and in the medium the density they have more catetin adhesion. But when the cancer cell grows together, then suddenly the catetin was degraded. This is the nature of when the cell coming together, then they don't grow. So Oncothermia is a method to make the cell adhere together. They thought they has already to the maximum reach of the maximum speed of treatment. So they will stop growing. That's the so-called, I say, the positive feedback of treatment. This is our experiment evidence. So from this slide, we show increased apoptosis. We compare with RF8, compare with 42 degree. We definitely show use Oncothermia. There were efficiency increased apoptosis. And we show some data later with histoprotein release. And the cell, very interesting, they are increased under Oncothermia treatment. Only that, they increase significantly of the catetin adhesion. That's what I say is because he activates everything in the system. So the cell accumulate together, and then out of their capacity to survive, then they die. If you give chemo or radiation this time, they will become very, very effective. So the ROS was increased after ROS. So RF bar also, yes, if you give it 42 degree, this also will increase ROS, but it's much greater in the Oncothermia group. This is very interesting, is in the 42 degree, the EGFR phosphorylation, you can see the gray color is the phosphorylation. So it's become active, the EGFR. It becomes phosphorate in the cytosol. And this is the mitochondria standing. In the heat, the mitochondria are located peri-nuclear area, but when under Oncothermia, they distribute in the membrane where. That's why he become apoptosis, because the mitochondria, they need a lot of energy has been spent outside on the membrane. Interesting, we use the A549 cell. It's a lung cancer cell. It's not sensitive to gefitinib, to ERASA. We see when untreated, the 42 degree is the apoptosis part about 1.3 plus 9, maybe 3 point something. But we plus gefitinib is increased apoptosis to about 5. In the RF8, original apoptosis rate is about 4, but you plus gefitinib is increased to about 5 point something. But on the contrary, in Oncothermia, the apoptosis is so high, it's about 30. But you put ERASA, it's decreased apoptosis. Why? That's because the mechanism of Oncothermia need to activate the membrane. If you downgrade the membrane receptor, then you decrease Oncothermia effect. So it's a very good complementary treatment to target therapy failure case. Then if you can get an interplay between different weapons, you will find Oncothermia should be a very good weapon. So the last part I will say, how can we interplay with the immunotherapy? If the Oncothermia also kills T cell, then we kill the immune cell as well as the cancer cell. Just like if I just give 43 degree or 42 degree by conventional method, I also kill the T cell. It doesn't work. But Oncothermia is different because the cancer cell have stronger Weber effect, not the T cell Of course, T cell it has, but less. The second is because active on the membrane, so all the danger signal of exocytosis getting up, pushing it out. So the danger signal secrete out, but not the conventional hyperthermia. So it's synergistic if we combine Oncothermia and the TM and checkpoint. So we have published recently of the improved immunogenic tumor microenvironment by electrohyperthermia. This is, say, if we want to successfully use anti-PD-1, such as nivolumab or pembrolizumab, we need an inflamed microenvironment. How to increase the inflamed microenvironment? We have evidence that if we put our peripheral blood treated with Oncothermia, we will see the activation of our lymphocyte. That means cancer cell was killed, but with a little bit lower temperature, because if the tumor 42, then your microenvironment may be only 40. So they survive and they activate. So under this situation, we do an experiment, is combine Oncothermia and dendritic cell therapy, and we found the most effective part is combine Oncothermia and dendritic cell therapy, and the contralateral side, we can prevent the regrowth of tumor. And we see a lot of tumor, so the lymphocyte infiltration compare effectiveness with Oncothermia alone. But anyhow, Oncothermia alone can improve the infiltration, inflame the tumor microenvironment, has no doubt. So leukocyte, macrophage, eosinophil, everything was increased compared with control. But if we put cell therapy, of course, it's getting stronger. So in the meantime, we are give anti-PD-1 to see whether the immunotherapy can become more strong. The key reason is because of histoprotein release from the cancer cell. It's very interesting. We compare with RF8, compare with Oncothermia, compare with 44 degree. Only Oncothermia will release out the histoprotein. Although everybody have histoprotein expression, but histoprotein release only can see from Oncothermia. That's why they activate the microenvironment, they activate membrane. So there's a beautiful interplay between membrane target therapy and immunotherapy. It's the most modern one. Everybody crazy about these two treatments. So how can I hold one weapon, got two so billions of market in the world is immunotherapy, target therapy. But most doctors, they don't know the beauty of the Oncothermia. They interconnect them. So my last slide. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think he showed the importance of the multimodality treatment, including radiation therapy, chemotherapy, immunotherapy, combined with Oncothermia. So in the floor, do you have the recommend and question? Dr. Ji, do you have the experience with the hypofractionation radiation therapy with Oncothermia?
No, Taiwan has no clinical use hyperthermia. Okay. My department only have research use, okay. So it's a small machine do the mice treatment and the cell treatment only. So I expect to have it next year, I hope.
Okay, thank you. Okay, give him a big hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.